Hello everyone, welcome in today to the Coach KJ Carousel Dynasty. This episode is our conference relegation game, which means if Tulane manages to win since they won the American and they manage to beat Texas Tech in this game, they will move up and take Texas Tech's spot in the Big 12. This game means a lot to both teams as Texas Tech finished the season at 1-11. However, they're going to play in a bowl game just to remain in the Big 12 if they can win this one. They have to beat Tulane in order to keep their Power 5 ranking. We'll have to see how this goes, and if they do lose, Texas Tech automatically drops to the American, and then next season they'd have the opportunity to fight their way back into the Power 5. Now, if Tulane manages to somehow lose this game against a 1-11 team, they will not move up into the Power 5. They'll remain in the American, and then next season they'll have to win it all over again, and then win a battle to get up into the Power 5 like this all over again. So this is a big opportunity for both teams. Texas Tech, it's just to retain their position as one of the top teams, and being a Power 5 opponent, and Tulane, so that way maybe they can get back to being a Power 5 opponent because they used to be in the SEC way back in the day. And if you look at overalls, it's surprisingly close. Texas Tech really has about the same overall as Tulane, and that shocked me a little bit. But that's exactly why I decided to have them play a game instead of automatically rewarding Tulane with moving up. I want the best teams in the Power 5, and if this is a way I can influence that a little bit, I'm going to do it. I just wanted a little more intrigue. So I hope that this is a good game, and I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a shake-up. I think Tulane can pull it out. I think the fact that they're 10-3 on the season is really going to help them out and make it so that way it's easier for them to win this one. They still have some of their stars from last season that actually left, like Tajay Spears here. He is, he's in the NFL now for the Tennessee Titans, but in this, he's still here, so he's going to help them maybe become a Power 5 opponent. This also will not be like a typical episode for me. I'm not going to be as focused on the play-by-play, especially early in this, just because, I don't know all the players, and it's not that important that I do play-by-play. I really want to see it play out and just show you guys the game. I also want to do some talking in this and reveal who my top 5 teams are that I might become a head coach of in the offseason with Carter Jake Jr. He's going to have 5 interviews, and then we're going to choose one of them teams in the offseason. I went through and I looked at teams that are likely to lose or fire their head coach, and I wrote down 5 teams that I would be interested in taking over based on circumstances, and kind of went from there. The first one's Florida. They are not doing that well, and I think they might fire Billy Napier, and if they did, they'd be really on a bad track record of firing a lot of coaches, so I think they'd scare away any of the premier candidates, which makes somebody like me a pretty good candidate for that job. I also think that it's a program that's still rebuilding, and I'm a Gators fan, so naturally I wanted to help them out and maybe win a title with them, and at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, we're not staying with the Gators for the rest of this dynasty. Carter Jake will move on eventually, I'm sure, unless we just struggle to win titles or something, but I just want to see a team that needs some development, and I was really interested in going to the lower levels at first, and then I realized, as fun as that would be, if I could take a head coaching job at a Power 5 team that made sense, I would do it, just because then I don't have to fight my way to the top, and I can come in and we can try to develop a team in a tough conference like the SEC. It made me interested, and it piqued my interest. So that's the first one that I'm going to do an interview with, and basically how that works is I chose 5 teams, and then if one of them offers me the job, and I looked at everything, I looked at their roster, I looked at the future of their roster, and just kind of decided, okay, if one of these 5 teams offers me, I'm going to have to consider it. And then we're going to go into the offseason and see who gets fired and then who I get offered jobs from. So number 1 on the list is Florida. They're my top choice right now. Number 2 on my list is kind of probably a little bit shocking, but it's going to be Illinois. I think that I could have a lot of fun rebuilding Illinois. Right now, they're 0-12 in this. They are actually pretty terrible. They haven't had a lot of luck in football at all. They don't have a track record of success. I could stay in the Big Ten, which means I could see Penn State and kind of watch them up close and from afar and develop a rivalry with them and, just try to take down all these teams in the Big Ten that we started out against. And like I said, they finished 0-12. If Navy would have won the American, they'd have been playing Navy to even stay in the Big Ten. So I just thought it was a good opportunity to try to change the course of their history a little bit. My 3rd team on the list is actually FAU, and they're a better team at a lower level, but I think they might lose their head coach. and I think it'd be cool to try to develop them and bring them up into the Power 5. Florida is a hotbed for recruiting, so it'd be kind of easy to get players to come there and build this team up into a Power 5 roster. I just think it'd be a perfect opportunity to make somebody who's not a power into a power, because Florida is just, it's so much talent in this. And if FAU joined a Power 5, they might be able to do something like UCF and hoist a national title banner that's real. So I just think it'd be fun to do with them. The next one on my list is Southern Miss, and they're kind of a weird one, but they're just my challenging school in the fact that with 1 year of coordinator experience, I'm really not sure if I'm going to get an opportunity to coach a big team. So I think they're going to be lower down on the list, and I think they're going to be a team that I can possibly come in and take over. Now, they did have a decent season, which is why I think they're going to lose their coach, but I think they're going to lose their coach to another group of 5 team, so they're going to be lower on the list. It's a lot of guessing there, but they're not a great team. They're down in the CUSA, so I'd have to develop them all the way up to the top. They're not a team that I've used in a dynasty in a while. I haven't posted them on channel, of course, but before that, I haven't used them, so I was interested in seeing like, oh, this is new. Maybe I can make them into a Power 5 team or leave before they get there, but help build them into maybe a Power 5 team. So that was an interesting one for me that I just think it could be a little bit of fun, and that gives you the opportunity to maybe go into the SEC or the Big 12 and go from there. And then the last one on my list is another big school that I think might change coaches. Now, this one here, I don't know. I was conflicted about putting them on my list, which is why they're number 5. I might be able to get an offer from them, but I'm just not sure if I fully want to do it, and that's Nebraska. I think they're going to make a coaching change. It's probably going to happen, but I just am not 100% sure if they're the team I want to take over, so I almost didn't include them on my list at all, but I didn't want to limit my opportunities too much, so I decided to go ahead and throw them on my list. And of course, there's teams that are not on my list that if they offered a head coaching job, I'd take it. Like if, I don't know, ULM or something is the only team or the last team that I can think of that'd be making a head coaching change, of course I'd go there. I mean, I want to be a head coach. I don't want to be stuck being the offensive coordinator at Penn State forever. I do enjoy it, but the full game experience is a lot better. The defense isn't as OP when you play it, and I don't play a traditional defense. Like, I don't go out there and try to spam and control a bunch of players. I let my players do their thing. I don't touch the remote and I just let them play. I'll call the defense, but that's it. So it's a little bit different, and I do enjoy having the full team control and seeing everything play out. But right now, that's my list, and number 1's Florida, number 2 is Illinois, number 3 is FAU, number 4 is Southern Miss, and number 5 is Nebraska. So right now, those are the teams that I expect to become a head coach of. There's a chance it could be a dark horse and somebody who's not on my list. Now, I have already done the off season, so I do know how it goes, but I'm not going to spoil it here, so you'll have to stick around and watch the next few episodes and then you can find out after. The next episode will be our bowl game with Penn State. We're going to finish out strong there. We didn't make the playoff, but I think we're going to be able to go in there, beat Kansas State, and hopefully finish strong and do the best we can there. I really am disappointed that I wasn't able to win the title with them. I thought for sure that was going to be something we could achieve, and then I really stunk it up against USC in the conference championship game and got knocked out. And then the episode after that will be the national title game, so you'll see the playoff, you'll see the national title, and I always show that. I just think it's a cool thing, and I like the fact that you can show it in this game. So we're going to have some highlights from that. It's going to be a lot like this where we do simming in there. It's not about showing off the entire game. Now, when I do these games, I try to watch 2 quarters and sim 2 quarters, but that does not mean I'm going to show you everything that happens in them 2 quarters. I just don't have the time for it. Well, I mean, I have the time. I just don't think people are that interested in it to where I need to show the whole game. I think if you guys get the gist of it, you'll enjoy it, and you can see the team win the title, and we can watch the celebration, and you can just kind of see it play out through the players' eyes a little bit. It'll feel like we watched it and we're a part of it, so it'll make it more memorable in the future. And I honestly think it makes it feel a little bit more real. That's the thing I always hate about Madden when you don't get to see the Super Bowl, is it just doesn't make it feel real, because you're like, oh yeah, here it is. And I want to see it. I want to see people celebrate. So that's why I'll always show it off. And let me tell you, coming back to this game for a minute here, it looks like Texas Tech is actually going to remain in the Power 5. They are kind of dominating Tulane right now. It's 27-12. Tulane's going to need 2 touchdowns in order to get into this game and hopefully somehow stay around. They'll need at least 1 2-point conversion. It's been a pretty tough game for Tulane. Texas Tech's done a great job. They've answered any questions. I mean, it shows this is why I decided to do this instead of just rewarding Tulane. Texas Tech is the better team. They just had a bad season. So this will reward them a little bit and give them an opportunity to hopefully be able to remain in the Power 5 and improve and get the extra development of playing an extra game. Also, the only way we won't have this game is if the team happens to make the playoff. So say Tulane was undefeated and they were the number 4 seed and they make the playoffs, well, they'll automatically move up to their conference. They don't need to worry about playing this game. I mean, it really wouldn't make sense to have them play it, so that's one way to avoid it. The other thing is I thought about doing with 0-12 teams, but then I changed my mind and was like, you know what? If you are not in the playoffs, you're going to play your way up. I don't care who you're playing against. We were going to show off Illinois Navy if we had to. So this right here is a fun way to do it, and conference relegation and all that stuff is going to be a part of this, and I like it. It'll change the landscape a little bit, but not too much by only allowing one team a chance each year to move up. So we'll see what happens. This one here is looking like Texas Tech's going to win. We're down to 3 minutes left in it. Back to pass is Michael Pratt, and he's going to throw it to the sideline. He finds Lawrence Keys III for 7 yards. So on 2nd and 3, Pratt's again back to pass. He throws it across the middle, and that's a first down right there out to the 39-yard line, the Fat Watts. So on 1st and 10 with 3 minutes left in this game, he's standing in the pocket, and Pratt's going to throw that one deep down the left sideline, and that is broken up by Rashad Williams at Texas Tech. That could have been a huge play for Tulane, and they really do need to make some big plays if they want to stay in this one. Back to pass is Pratt, but he's going to tuck it and run this time, and he gets hit and fumbles the ball, but Tulane recovers it. However, Michael Pratt gets hurt, so Tulane is going to have to go the rest of the way in this game with their backup quarterback, and that's a pretty tough ask if you're wondering what I think anyway. Lawrence Keys catches that for 7 yards, so it's a 4th and 1, and they toss it to the left, and he beats his man out there on the edge. That block was made just well enough that Tajay Spears gets the first down and gains 14 yards. However, they're down to 2 minutes left, and they get a penalty on this play. It's going to be a false start against Tulane to back them up. They can't afford that right now, as time is already not on their side in this game. So it's 1st and 15 now, and they are back to pass, and they're going to throw it to the left, and that's almost intercepted by Texas Tech right there. That would have ended this game. So he throws it again, and this time he's just inaccurate. So now it's 3rd and 15 for Tulane, and they go deep, and they have a man one-on-one, and he beats him going down the sideline. They're going to take him down at the 4-yard line. That's Lawrence Keys taking that pass for 39 yards. So Tulane still has a chance in this game. With 1st and goal, they send a receiver in motion. They're back to pass it, and they throw it into the flats. That's going to be a touchdown to Tajay Spears. This game is 27-18. Now you have to wonder, are they going to kick the extra point or go for 2? They decide to go for 2 now to see what they have to do to win it. That one doesn't work though, so now it's a 2-score game. So if they do not get this onside kick, this game's gonna be over. With 1:36 left, Tulane's attempting the onside kick, and they do touch it. However, Texas Tech recovers it. The other issue is there's a flag on this play. They touched it about 2 yards too early, so it ended up being a penalty regardless of if Tulane would have recovered it. So this one's over. Texas Tech avoids relegation into the group of 5, and Tulane cannot pull off the upset to move into the Power 5. This right here ended up being a really good game, and I look forward to future games like this each year. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see a team try to move up and see what happens, because it just goes to show that bad Power 5 teams are not necessarily bad teams. They just play a whole lot tougher schedule. So congratulations to Texas Tech. They kept their spot in the Big 12 this season. Hopefully next year they can improve a little bit so they won't have to worry about playing their way up. This is LDJ11. I thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'm out.
And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it.